and welcome to a course on exam techniques for questions on sequences and series in grade 12. Here, arithmetic and geometric formulae are used to obtain properties of a sequence, such as certain terms, and a difference or a common ratio between them. Furthermore, a sum of terms in a series is obtained through appropriate formulae. Now, let us see how all these come together in a typical exam session. Suppose you are given a series defined by 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus other terms until the last one given by 93. Determine a general term of the series, Tn, in the form Tn equals Pn plus Q. From the given series, note that T1 equals 5 and T2 equals 7. Now, substitute first n equals 1 into the general formula so that T1 equals P times 1 plus Q. And then substitute n equals 2 so that T2 equals P times 2 plus Q. Then it follows that P plus Q equals 5, label this equation number 1, and also that 2p plus q equals 7. Label this equation number 2. Now, from equation 1, let q equals 5 minus p, and label this equation number 3. Substitute equation 3 into equation 2 and simplify so that p equals 2. Lastly, substitute p equals 2 into equation 3 so that q equals 3. Then, Tn equals 2n plus 3. Now, given Tn equals 2n plus 3, such that Tn represents the number of kilometers trained on the nth week of training, how long in weeks was the training? Note that in the last week, Tn equals 93. Therefore, from the general formula, 2n plus 3 equals 93. After simplifying, n equals 45. Therefore, the training program lasted 45 weeks. Furthermore, given that a training program lasted 45 weeks, 10 rands were donated for each kilometer trained. How much was donated in total? Initially, note that A equals 5 and D equals 2. Then use the formula for a sum of arithmetic series to get total kilometers in training. This formula can be found at the back of the question paper on the day of exam. Substitute values of A, D, and N into this formula so that sum of series equals 2,205. This is a total number of kilometers in training. If this is multiplied by 10 rand donated for each kilometer, then donation is 22,050. Given Tn equals 2 exponent sum of n plus 2, to write down the first term, substitute n equals 1 on the given formula so that T1 equals 2 raised by 3, which is equal to 8. To write down the common ratio, first obtain the second term. That is, substitute n equals 2 such that T2 equals 16, and then the common ratio equals T2 divided by T1, such that the common ratio equals 2. To calculate T20, substitute n equals 20 into the general formula, so that T20 equals 2 exponent 22. Note that 22 is an even number, such that 22 equals 2 times 11. Then T20 simplifies to 4 exponent 11. To sum up an infinite series of 1 over 2 to the power n, it is necessary first to algebraically simplify the series, so that the nth term is now 1 over 2 to the power n plus 2. Therefore, the formula for an infinite geometric series can be used. This formula can be found at the back of the question paper on the day of the exam. Note that in the new representation of the series, a equals 1 over 8. the common ratio is 1 over 2. Then, after simplifying, the infinite series sums up to 1 over 4. Lastly, consider the first 21 terms of the given sequence. To calculate the sum of the terms in the sequence that are not powers of 4, initial steps calculates the sum of the first 21 terms. The formula for a finite sum can be used. This formula can be found at the back of the question paper on the day of exam. Substitute a equals 8, then n equals 21, and then r equals 2. Then, the sum of the first 21 terms equals 16,777,208. Next, calculate the sum of the terms of power of 4. Note that these terms can be represented by the formula t2n equals 2 exponent sum of 2n plus 2, such that 2n is less than 21. So then n is less than or equal to 10. Substitute n equals 1 into t2n so that the first term equals 16. Then the second term is 64. Therefore, the common ratio for these terms is 4. To obtain their sum, a finite geometric series can be used. This formula can be found at the back of the question paper on the day of exam. Substitute a equals 16, then n equals 10, and then r equals 4. Then the sum of the terms in the power of 4 equals 16,777,200. Therefore, the sum of the terms in the sequence Tn that are not power of 4 is the difference between the two sums that we calculated previously, that is, 8.